Protecting the business then. So a lot of the time when people are thinking about protection, you might think about life and critical illness on a mortgage or something like that. A lot of the time, business owners will say, oh, I need some key person protection. And there's a conversation there. Well, is it key person protection that you actually need? Because within protection within a business, there's lots of different types. So key person protection, share purchase arrangements, cross option agreements, and relevant life plans. As well as this, you can have group life benefits or group benefits, private medical, things like that. You could have protection on a loan that you've got within the business. But when we really start to have interesting conversations about why somebody is looking at protecting the business, these are the main areas that we're talking about. And the thing to think about with this is that when you're building a house, you wouldn't build a house without the foundations in place because the house would fall down. Protecting your business is the same. You wouldn't operate without liability insurance, okay? But yet the biggest asset in most or business owner businesses is you. And yet you've possibly not got that protection in place to make sure that if something happens to you, that the business is still there for your loved ones, or that the business is still there for you to come back to after you've recovered from an illness. So if you've got investors in a business, they might require you to have key person cover. And key person cover is a policy that is owned by the business for the business. Okay, so you can have it for life, you can have it for critical illness. And it effectively covers the key people in the business. So who contributes to the profit? Is there somebody within the business where if they passed away or if they were off with a serious illness, it would cause real disruption to that business? That could be you. It could be a really key person within the business. That policy is owned by the company and it pays out into the business as a trading receipt and is there to be spent within the business to support you during that time frame. That could be paying salaries, it could be recruiting a replacement, but it's there to protect the business. With share purchase arrangements, those are individual policies that the shareholders take out to ensure that if one of them, mainly if they passed away, albeit it can be for critical illness as well, that both the business and the other shareholders are protected, but their families protected as well. So for argument's sake, if you've got two people as owners of a business and they're both married for argument's sake and they own 50%, they would each have a life policy that pays out to the other shareholder. And let's assume you've got a will in place. I please hope everybody who's a business owner has got a will in place. And their will says that their shares in the business pass to their spouse. You've then got a situation where the spouse has got the shares. They maybe don't want the shares. They might want the shares, but you've got a risk there of what happens if something happens to them. What happens if they remarry? What happens if something happens and it passes to minors? And then what are you going to do with regards to those shareholdings? So a share purchase arrangement would mean that the life cover pays out to the other shareholder in that example. And where a cross option agreement comes in is an agreement that says normally within a 6-month time frame that if the spouse in that example exercises the option to sell the shares, the other shareholders have to comply and they've got the policy money there to do that. Similarly, if the other shareholders exercise the option to buy the shares, the spouse has to, or the widow has to sell the shares and that transaction happens. But because it is an option as opposed to a buy-sell arrangement where it has to happen, it's much more tax efficient way to set that up. So protecting both your beneficiaries and the other shareholders in that example. Relevant life plans, the easiest way to explain these, they are individual death in service benefits or as close to it as you're going to get. So they're really useful if you've got high earners in the business where their limits, for example, on group life policies, their benefits would exceed that. And similarly for owners of a business. So if you're the owner of a business and you're paying for any personal life assurance that's just a standalone life assurance policy, I would suggest you look at getting a relevant life plan in place instead. You can't just transfer it over because that would be a personal policy put into the business. It should be a P11D. It has to be a relevant life plan set up under relevant life rules. And the reason for that is a relevant life plan is a business expense. So you save corporation tax on the premiums and it pays out into a trust for your beneficiaries, which is completely tax free from inheritance tax as well. So you get tax relief at both sides. The maximum age, my understanding, is 75 on these, but you can take them over personally if you then sold the business in most cases. So if you sold the business at 60, you wanted to keep your life cover running for whatever reason, you can get it assigned over personally. So really, really tax efficient way of ensuring that your business is protected, you're protected, your family's protected in a very tax efficient way.
On those,